Hey guys, welcome back to another video. So recently we witnessed the big next generation Xbox Games Showcase from Microsoft on July 23rd. Now, while the show was not light on actual games, in fact there were plenty of first party and third party titles that were announced or shown off in the event. A general consensus among the majority of gaming community is that the event somewhat failed to create a case for us to actually go out and buy one of these Xbox Series X consoles, the most powerful consoles they have ever built according to Microsoft. Now, that inevitably begs the question, does Microsoft actually want us to buy their brand new consoles? Well, on the hindsight, this would have been quite a nonsensical question, right? Like, why would a company not want their consumers to buy their brand new product? Now, this is where it gets somewhat interesting. If you have watched the show, you are probably aware that most of the first-party games, including their biggest heavy hitters and potential system seller like Halo Infinite, will run on all Xbox consoles, starting from the current gen base Xbox One, which was by the way released way back in 2013, all the way up to the next gen Xbox Series X, including PCs with Windows 10 operating systems. So the fact that you don't really need a next generation gaming console to play all these new games if you already have a current gen machine or a capable enough gaming PC naturally raises the question, then why should one really need to buy one of these new consoles? Now, games are what sells these consoles, right? Not graphics, not pixels. Does getting 60 FPS and some extra pixels really justify spending, say, upwards of $500 or 50,000 rupees on a new generation hardware? For most, it does not make sense, and Microsoft kind of knows that, and this is where the Xbox Game Pass comes in. The general consensus is that rather than being a showcase for next-gen hardware and games, the event that we just witnessed was more like an advertisement for Xbox's subscription service, the Xbox Game Pass. The fact is, that is exactly what it was actually. For long now, Microsoft has been moving away from the traditional console world that we have seen throughout the last two generations. Microsoft and Sony going hammer and tongs about new exclusive games on the systems and enticing buyers one way or the other purely by the offer of unique gaming experiences the systems had to offer. While Sony has continued to do exactly that and will continue into the future with upcoming PlayStation 5, Microsoft is playing a whole new ballgame here. Their main focus moving on to the next generation is the Xbox Game Pass, their monthly subscription service where consumers can get to play hundreds of unique titles for free for a nominal monthly fee of $10 to $15. The reason for this transformation is simple, quite simple. Console purchases are made once, that's a one-time money spent by the consumers, but services make money long after the initial purchase. Services represent long-term revenues through subscriptions and indirect or direct engagement through monetization. In 2019 alone, Microsoft earned $10.26 billion from Xbox in trailing 12 months revenues, driven mostly by online gaming, game sales, and most importantly, the subscription Game Pass. Now, subscription services in gaming has been gaining quite the popularity with major publishers like EA and Ubisoft introducing their own subscription-based models, but none offers the diversity and affordability like the Xbox Game Pass does. If there was one complaint about the Xbox Game Pass was the lack of actual AAA games in their collection. However, after Thursday's showcase, that complaint has been slightly mitigated. Each and every game that we saw in the show, which were plenty I would say, will be coming to the Xbox Game Pass and subscribers will get to play them day one without any additional cost. Now, even a very rough estimate and non-mathematical one at that, why this is such a big deal. Let's assume you're a type of gamer who plays around say 10 AAA games a year. Now each of those games costs $60 or maybe even $70 going into the next generation. So you are spending somewhat of $600 or $700 a year to play these games. Now with Game Pass, you can play all those games and more by spending only $180 to $200 in the same period of time. That's a decrease of 70% in your yearly gaming budget. Now this is a huge deal in my opinion. In an industry where publishers and corporations like EA, Ubisoft and Take-Two are getting increasingly predatory with their in-game monetization policies, squeezing gamers out of their very last penny, an offer like this will really be hard to pass on for gamers around the world. While the argument that subscription to your games never really gives you the full ownership of these products is still a valid argument and a deal breaker for many, including me I would say, we still cannot disregard the value proposition of Xbox's subscription service here. And that's not all. Recently they also announced their game streaming service, the Project XCloud, will be available free and included with their monthly subscription of Xbox Game Pass. It will entail no additional cost to the consumers. Now, game streaming is still a funny business, and at the moment we have seen just how disastrous it can be with Google Stadia. It will need a few more years at least before game streaming can even be considered as an alternative to traditional local hardware-based gaming. But then again, the value here is just unprecedented. Few years down the line, people around the globe could easily enter into gaming without even having any local hardware at their disposal. They could just spend $15 a month and play their games on whatever platform they prefer via the Project XCloud streaming service. Now, this will dramatically reduce the entry barrier to gaming. A huge number of people who did not previously get into gaming because of either steep hardware prices or costly games could then easily get into by paying a nominal monthly fee. While in markets like India, I wouldn't think streaming or Game Pass will be a huge hit, this whole platform agnostic gaming scenario could potentially be game changing, no pun intended, in Microsoft's major markets like the US, Europe and Australia. A fee of $10 to $15 a month in these markets is peanuts compared to what they will be getting in return. However, having said all these positive things about Xbox Game Pass, not everything is rainbow and buttercups for the future of Game Pass, and the risk Microsoft is taking here is insane. The general gaming populace is still very apprehensive about the idea of subscription services. They would want total ownership of their games, which practically no subscription service would ever offer. Game streaming is and will be a strict no-go area for the majority of gamers, even with high internet speeds, because of the significant latency and input lag streaming introduces to gaming. Another huge roadblock might be the availability of actual games on the platform. Now, if Thursday's show was anything to go by, yes, there were games, but Microsoft is still way behind Sony in producing hard-hitting AAA gaming. Hardly any gameplay was shown apart from Halo Infinite, and we still don't have an idea how these games actually play. AAA games are what matters and sells systems and ecosystems, and to succeed with any platform, availability of high-quality AAA gaming experiences will be of utmost importance. The risk Microsoft is taking here with the next-gen Xbox is immense, and it has all the potentials of backfiring and damaging the Xbox brand to its core. But with the value on offer, the ecosystem-based marketing they are going in with, moving themselves away from a lost exclusivity battle and playing their own terms completely, gives them plenty of reasons to succeed in the long run. With next generation of video games on the horizon, we could potentially witness either of two things. A great brand going down the gutter, chasing a market segment which never really existed, or changing the gaming landscape completely as we know it. Whatever be the outcome, Microsoft is taking a huge leap of faith with next generation of Xbox. Only time will tell if it can stick the landing or end up in the ICU.